So after a 5-hour solo run speedrun using Helioptile, it felt so good to finally use something that's actually good again, aka Golurk. Now, Golurk is probably it's a Gen 5 Pokemon that I very much love. Honestly, I love a lot of Gen 5 designs, but I think Golurk definitely stands on one of the top coolest designs out there for Gen 5. Just this big golem with that just looks like it could beat the shit out of you. It's great, and this thing has amazing stats as well. So 89 base HP, 124 base attack, and then it's got 80 base defenses. Special attack doesn't matter. The only downside to this Pokemon is its speed stat at 55. Definitely could be better, but you know, with all the other stats being so good, I honestly didn't mind. So anyways, before we get into this solo run speedrun Golurk, here are the rules. Take a nice look, and now let's get into it. So Golurk obviously is a massive beast of a Pokemon. Its starting moveset isn't the best. I did choose Iron Fist because you do get a lot of punching moves. Well, I say a lot, but there's two. 2 is still half of our moveset, so it's not bad. Another cool thing about Golurk is, you know, the whole meme about how Golurk gets fly, how everyone memes about that because it's a rocket. Well, we can actually utilize fly in this run, but that's something for later. When we get to Viola here, I think we get rollout at level 9, which means we can utilize that right away, which is very nice. If there's one big issue though, I missed rollout like twice, and that was really annoying. It just really screwed me up, and also really tilted me, especially since I didn't heal in Central City because I thought I could just ride the momentum to beat it. And at the same time, I was also trying to rush because I was trying to beat Viola as fast as possible, or at least I was trying to do it faster than Aurora. So I ended up losing a lot of time, but then coming back, getting slightly better luck on the second time and actually winning. And so after using a technique I learned from the X and Y speedrun, the actual X and Y speedrun by AGDQ, I found out that in Sycamore's lab on floor 2, you can talk to one of scientists who gives you luxury balls, and by selling those luxury balls you get enough money to buy Bodos. So yeah, that was really a huge upgrade right off the beginning because we needed it for the second gym, and it was also our stab, so it was our main damage. We did lose to Sycamore because we couldn't do any damage to the Bulbasaur, but you know, after that we did obtain Bodos, so we were able to get a massive upgrade to our damage. And the next up would be for Grant. So Grant obviously in theory shouldn't have been a problem since we did have Bodos. However, I found out that I did not have enough damage for him, so I ended up taking a big hit. Yeah, and ended up losing regardless. So what I realized what I needed was to be healthy whenever I took out the Amora, which just basically meant I needed enough damage. Since I went in the first time at level 20 against level 25 Pokemon, my Bodos then one-shot the Amora, giving it a way to do damage to me. And since the Tyrant can two-shot me, I need a way to get into the Tyrant as healthy as possible. So I decided to spend some time to take out the gym trainers, and with that I was able to just one-shot Amora and then live a move from Tyrant, and then after a healed, I ended up getting a higher range and taking it out. And anyways, next, the best part about Golurk is dealing with Corona, because our first 2 runs, Amora, Warris, and Helioptile were both weak to Lucarios and fighting types in general. But Golurk, it doesn't take any damage from fighting types, which means we don't have to worry about those fights whatsoever. So the 2 Lucarios went down no problem because it couldn't do any damage to us, and we had Bodos. And then the gym trainers this time in Corna's gym, it just felt so good because they couldn't do anything to us. We were able to just easily take all of them out, with all of them not being able to do any damage to us, because most of them only have fighting moves. So it was honestly a great time. And then Corona herself obviously can't do anything, because the only attack she has to hit ghost types is on Machoke with Rock Slide or Rock Tomb. So when your only move to hit me is also not very effective, you're not making any threats to me. And then I ended up beating Corona 10 minutes ahead of Awaris, which was very nice. Felt very nice. And the next up is Ramos. So even I was actually surprised before this that I was able to get enough friendship to get the Lucky Egg. But also, right before Ramos, we are given the Fly HM by Professor Sycamore, and we can actually use this, especially because we do need to use this in order to actually do damage to all the grass types in this gym. Also, I guess I forgot to mention, after beating Corona, you get the Power Up Punch TM, and obviously we want to use that because with the Iron Fist, it does more damage, and it also boosts our attack, so we don't have to use a turn to actually use X items in case we don't have to range to kill. Either way, we do have O power, so it's not a huge deal, but Power Up Punch does deal good damage, so we definitely want to utilize that. And basically at this point, we're already finished with our moveset, in our entire moveset, because we did get Shadow Punch. So I guess all we're just waiting for is getting Earthquake at around like level 50. But regardless, we're basically full build right now. And Ramos, yeah, was no issue at all. He couldn't with I think just one power up punch. I don't even think we needed to power up punch. I think just a +1 fly just took him out. And then for Clement, obviously not a problem. He's electric types, but if there was anything that dealt kind of big damage was his Heliolisk, because that grass snap, but we were still able to take it out in one hit, and then Magneton was not a problem. Next up was Valerie, and Valerie was also not an issue because we could just one-shot everything. It wasn't too much of an issue either. The Mawile just went down to an Earthquake. The Mr. Mime went down to a Shadow Punch, and then Sylveon just went down to 2 Shadow Punches. So with that, we were done with Valerie. Next up was Olympia. So Olympia, I guess I forgot to mention before, the Frost Cavern, we didn't have to worry about that. We just, because this time, all the fighting type trainers there proved to be no threat to me, so I was able to smoothly get through all of them without having to try and dodge them all. And now, of course, Olympia was no problem because we are a ghost type, and we're using the speed O power. With only just one speed O power, we one-shot everything with Shadow Punch. And even the Meowstic. With the Meowstic, I think came out second just because I had Shadow Ball. But yeah, obviously there's nothing on their team that could actually take any damage. And now we go up against Lysandre. Now Lysandre, it feels so much better to go up against him because we don't have to worry about his lead Mienshao. So it's so much easier to deal with. So obviously the first Lysandre fight, obviously not an issue because none of his Pokemon really proved to be a huge threat to me. Of course, we do need to set up a few power-up punches a little bit beforehand on some of his previous Pokemon just so we had enough damage to kill Gyarados, but regardless, not much of an issue. And then we had to deal with, I guess, Lysandre's second fight, but Lysandre's second fight is, I think at this part I did struggle a tiny bit, just because I didn't have enough damage to kill his Gyarados the first time. But regardless, I just came in. I think I might have used some X items as well right before, because I realized that it would have made it much easier. And since I do have to fight him a third time, it was best to just come prepared just in case it wasn't enough. But with that, yeah, Lysandre was down, and then the third Lysandre fight, I think I needed to use some X items just to make sure I could deal with him. And by using X items, I was able to just tank everything just fine. I just needed enough damage, I'm pretty sure, just to take out the Mega Gyarados. But either way, I think this is probably the easiest the last Lysandre fight was, so it felt very, very nice. And then the only thing we had left was Wolfric. And Wolfric, despite being an Ice type, obviously would prove to be some threat, but we do have some really nice moves for him, so he wasn't too much of an issue. So what we did is we started off with an O power attack, just so we could take out his Abomasnow, which seemed pretty tanky, but we used Fly, so we were able to take that out in one hit, and then Kriagonal comes in and we get a nice power up punch to just take that out. And then just Avalugg comes in, and even though we can't really one shot the Avalugg, it doesn't deal too much damage back to us. So we just did another power up punch into Earthquake, and it used Curse, so it didn't even do any damage to us. So with that, Wolfric was down. It was time for the champion. So before we fight the champion, obviously we got to do the Elite Four. I decided to start off with the water one first. So for this one, I just started off with an O power speed, and then just I used a power up punch first on the Claw Witcher, so I was at +1/+1, and then I just slowly took out everything with Earthquake and Shadow Punch. And I think also actually, if I remember correctly, yeah, I think a +1 Shadow Punch was enough to take out the Gyarados, and then we had to deal with the Steel guy, Mr. Steelman, next. And Mr. Steelman obviously is not a problem because we are ground type, so everything just goes down to an Earthquake, especially since we could just use power up punches on some of the Pokemon before, and nothing really deals too much damage. Even the Scizor, which I'm pretty sure had Night Slash, but we still tank it since we are much high level. And then the Fire Wong obviously isn't much of an issue either. She doesn't really do any damage to us, and since we popped the O power speed, we do outspeed pretty much everything, so there's also nothing to really worry about. And then finally, the Dragon one is also not much of an issue, because I think for this one I didn't even use any O powers or X items, so I was able to just take out Dragalge with an Earthquake, and then Altaria was a bit annoying, but I was trying to set up some power up punches on this since I did use Cotton Guard, so it was kind of hard to kill, so it just went by a bit slower, but it was still an easy win. And then last up is Diantha, and I think for Diantha I only use an O power. I use an X speed. I use an X speed armor, since I don't think I haven't had any O power juice left. So O power speed to boost, and then took out the Halucha in one hit, and then took out the Warus with power up punch, boosting my attack, and then Gourgeist went down to Shadow Punch. Goodra came out, and then that went down to an Earthquake. Tyrantrum went down to an Earthquake, and then obviously our last Pokemon, Mega Gardevoir, couldn't do anything. We could just kill it with the simple Shadow Punch, and with that, we were able to beat the game at 2 hours 12 minutes and 22 seconds, which is a new record, beating Warus' time by like 40 to 50 minutes. It's insane. Honestly, I was incredibly or 54 minutes actually. I was incredibly happy about this because it just felt so much better after doing a 5-hour run like 2 days before that. That just felt so tiring and long. So with the run like this, that's just so much smoother and clean, and without any too big obstacles. It just felt really nice, and it's making me really dread some of the future runs that I have planned. It's not gonna be fun, but with this down, our next Pokemon is actually going to be Drapion, and Drapion is going to be another really good Pokemon, so I'm expecting it to do just as well, and possibly even better if I can play it good enough. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time for the Drapion run. Enjoy.